see me on the vibe, yeah, I know you know. Try to catch me slipping, but you know I won't. I got covering, watching every move. Never see me give up, now I'm in a no growth. Yeah, 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 in a no growth. Yeah, 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 in a no growth. Yeah, 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 in a no growth. Yeah, I'm in a no growth.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to C's Today. I am your favorite girl next door, Day, and I have a special guest today, Theonidas. Everybody give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
It's so good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for even taking the time and the opportunity to come on the show and just like express your creativity. I actually ran across his page through a mutual friend, and he was explaining like he went on this like 3-day fast, and it was just so like intriguing. So I definitely wanted to reach out to him. I ended up watching his whole YouTube video of that process and of that journey. So I wanted to bring him on the show for him to kind of just dissect that and kind of explain to us that journey for him. And we were going to dissect the topic. So every episode, Theo, we do, not only do we talk about whatever you have going on, you know, or your process or the creativity that you create, but we also like to dissect the topic as well. So for today's topic, I wanted to talk about protecting your gates and also the beauty of the process. So that was two things that I kind of gathered from your journey that you was able to experience when you went through, you know, your fasting process. So before I get too much into it, Theo, can you just tell us like a back story of who you are and what led you up to wanting to do your 72-hour strictly water fast?
All right. Well, hola, everybody. Like you said, people call me Theonidas, but my mama calls me Theo. Theonidas was a name created in college. That's what people call me who knew me past a certain point. And it's really I play professional basketball, so it's like your identity and my identity in competition, or my identity when I switch into like business mode, I like to call it. And so leading up to this fast, actually, I was just bored during the, COVID-19. I was just bored and I needed a personal challenge. But with that personal challenge of me doing strictly water for 3 days, it turned into a spiritual, mental, detox. Like it was just so many things that stretched during that 72-hour process, and the amount of clarity that I gained at the end of it, it made it worth it. And it was something that wasn't intended to be so deep, but it was something that I needed to go through. And at some point in time, I was going to go through it. So I might as well do it on, like, when I made a decision to challenge myself. And so I'm somebody that pushes my body to the limits, like almost daily. So this was just another thing, but it transferred into something more impactful.
So before we start actually diving into that, I mean, how has the quarantine, because I mean, first of all, we're not even in the same city. We're not even in the same town.
Right.
This whole quarantine thing has things looking a little crazy. This is my first show that I'm doing, like cyber, like over the internet. All of my interviews are always personable, the person sitting right next to me. And so this is definitely new. So, I mean, thank you for even agreeing to do this, because not everybody's comfortable in front of the camera, like with me being there, so let alone
right.
over the internet. So thank you so much for that. I mean, look, we over here I got my hair wrapped up. Look, like it just,
oh yeah, y'all want to see my hair? I look crazy. I look like Celie in The Color Purple. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Listen, no, that's me. Look, if you Celie, then what's her name?
What, Oprah?
No, what's her sister name?
Oh, I don't know. The one she was like
Nettie.
this?
Nettie. There it is.
Oh, Nettie. Oh, I didn't know her name. I just know they had the, You know,
But
game.
right. Speaking of like just the quarantine situation, like how has this been impacting you in your daily life?
It's been, it couldn't have come at the right time for me. And I don't want to make light in a of a serious situation, but it's something to where God or the universe, whatever your listeners or viewers believe in,
Look,
just
they know me. We believe in
right.
the
All
spirit.
right. Well, God telling me to sit my butt down.
Yeah.
And it gave insight. Like everybody says, hindsight is 2020. It gave insight on why my journey in Europe didn't go the way I wanted to, because I would have been stuck over there during this time. And so it's been challenging at first, because I'm somebody that's from 6 a.m. to about 10 o'clock at night, I'm doing something. And so that energy for me has gone into meditation, prayer, more self reflection, self analysis, and really sitting down and thinking what I want to do moving forward. And so the fact that I'm using this time somewhat productively has been a blessing. Um, and it's hard for me to stay still though. Like I'm still going outside, riding my bike 30 miles, because I'm not finna sit in the house and watch Netflix. I don't even like TV like that.
Right.
So it's just I'm staying away from people, but I'm a professional athlete. I gotta make something shake, so
Do you think that I think that is honestly a lot of people story as far as not being able to sit still in this
right.
whole situation has forced people to stay still and actually gather themselves, because like day in and day out we're so used to giving pieces of ourselves here, pieces of ourselves there, and we thin ourselves out so much.
Right.
So it's like now we're forced to kind of be contained and in a place where we have to get to know ourselves, because I don't think a lot of people even know who they are, because they
Easily not.
they go so hard. So I mean, I like you said, you don't want to make light of a situation, but I don't think in any capacity this situation could be light, you know.
Right.
Although there are darker aspects to what's going on, people losing their lives and stuff like that, but then there's also like just serious parts of knowing who you are, because like how can you genuinely be the best version of yourself if you don't know yourself?
See, that's a lifetime battle,
It is.
But it's I would say, so this is the second pandemic that we've seen in America, but not in our lifetime, but let's just say globally. And I would say that earlier, 100 years ago, it was probably easier because there wasn't so much access to everything as there is now. Meaning, okay, it's mandated by how many, 37 states at the time, to, hey, stay home, don't touch nobody, and so that was easy. But here, when you're so used to everything that I feel is catered to, and it's my choice, and I can do this, and oh, you're not going to tell me what to do,
Yeah.
like everybody, like, but at the end of the day, like, hopefully it hits everybody that we're not in control as much as we want to believe.
This is good. Like you
You
right
know,
there. Keep going. This is good.
we're not in control. So, oh, that doesn't matter. I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to do this. And then you come down with the virus. And it just so happens that the virus mixes up with you in the worst way possible.
Mm.
So you mean to tell me that a lot of people got to be knocked down to their lowest in order to realize that? So hopefully everybody understands to respect the fact that you're not in control all the time, and embrace it.
Yeah.
And embrace it, because I find it scarier to be in a situation where you think you're in control, and you still haven't gotten the results that you wanted. That's scary. But to know that, hey, certain things are out of my control, that gives you a certain sense of ease, of peace, of understanding.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe peace is ease. Peace is understanding.
Absolutely.
Right. And so to understand that, hey, I'm here, I'm good, even though I can't go to happy hour on Friday or Bible study on Wednesday.
Come on, listen, that's real though,
because that's
of,
real.
Because even when you think about like the church, I feel like sometimes like, you know, we get so caught up in the spiritual that we feel like we don't have to use wisdom.
And
it's
that's
like
deep.
And it's just like, you know, okay, if we are only supposed to be, yes, I believe, you know, the power of the Holy Spirit. Yes, I believe, you know, that I'm not going to, you know, my body is healed, my body is strong and stuff like that. But I'm not going to put myself in a situation. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to use wisdom not to be in large crowds. I'm going to use wisdom not to be outside of period as much as I would like to, you know. And I think a lot of times, you know, we get so caught up in the facet of, you know, the, you know, I believe that Jesus, you know, he heals all and this, that, and other, which he does, that he has the power to do that and more, but he's also given us wisdom. And I think that's a whole nother conversation.
No, but it's real though. It's real. And like I told you when we had a phone call the other day, my favorite verse in the Bible is Jesus was in favor with God and man, and everybody forgets that man part.
I was talking to a friend about that. I was just talking to a friend that I think like a lot of times we don't realize that we're still human. Like, yes, we're spiritual beings, but we are in human flesh. And because of that, like, we have to pay attention to the human part of us as well. So when we're feeling like certain ways, like to pay attention to those feelings, deal with them healthy and give them, you know, unto God, like healthy, deal with those feelings, like, but don't suppress those feelings and don't ignore those feelings because they do exist.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I feel that people who struggle with that the most, they struggle with the balance of spirituality and common sense, and then with that, it's fear, and it's fear to what? No, I can't do nothing. No one is, you know, fear, and then proper prevention. Like if you were doing everything you needed to before this, properly washing your hands.
Had this conversation today.
Properly washing your hands, got hand sanitizer in the car when you pumping the gas, not touching your face when you touching, you know, like if you were doing proper stuff, like there's really no issue. The only thing is you might come across somebody else who's not properly doing it, and then you might get it, you know.
Right.
But you know, it's just,
I just had that conversation with somebody. I did.
Is this too dark?
No,
it's getting dark,
I
ain't it?
Yeah, it's getting dark. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I was using the sunlight. Hold up, I got to turn my light on in my room real quick.
Okay. All right. But I literally just had this conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna cut that out.
I could edit that. That's too easy.
Yeah, slice.
I could edit that. But like I just had this conversation with somebody else because I told them that wow, I just lost my train of thought. Whew, thank God we're not live.
Right now, he's straight.
Repeat that last little piece that you just said about.
It's the difference between fear and proper prevention.
Okay, there it is.
Right.
I was telling them, you know, about preventative measures. Like God gave us common sense, and because of that, if you know that you are doing something that that is tiring out your body. If you're tired and you know you need to get rest, but instead you keep pushing, you keep pushing, you keep pushing, you keep pushing for the sake of a greater good. Like, the common sense would be like, this thing is still going to be there. Like, it's still going to be there when you're done. Like, when you're done getting your rest, like, just go ahead, pull back, get yourself to 100%, and then when you come back, just be ready to work. Because it's not going to serve any good for you to continue pushing yourself and you're at 10%, and now you're only being able to offer 10%. Like, that makes no sense, you know?
And then that goes into the paradigm thing. Why do you feel that you need to do so much right now? What is that in you that gives you some sense of value to be busy? You got to go back and map that out.
That's good.
Right. So it all comes back to that subconscious, right? And so, yeah, that's a 4-hour sermon right there. Or not a sermon, but a forum, you know. Hold on.
Come on now, sermon.
Oh, no. See, not yet. No, I don't know if that's me, but you know, we'll see. Hold on. You might have to cut this part out. I got to close the blinds so the light reflects off the white blinds. And
okay.
Did that work? Oh, yeah, a little bit. All right, a little bit. All right, cool. All right, good.
So,
and action.
Okay, so tell me more about this fast. You broke it down into 3 days, and I remember watching your YouTube video. You broke each section down with what you focused on. Could you like explain to our viewers like what did those days look like for you?
Okay, so the first day, so the reason why I did it, somebody brought it up, and I said, "Yo, I want to be challenged like this." So let me go ahead and do it. So the first day, it was pretty smooth, up until about 3:00, and then I had the urge to work out and also eat. And so what I did was I tried to do everything in my power to take my mind off of eating. So I started researching videos about law of attraction. And I came across a video of a law of attraction, and I know about law of attraction. I done read Brian Tracy's book. I done listened to Les Brown. I done heard the audio book of As a Man Thinketh, right? So
which are like 2 great speakers and an amazing book. So if you guys definitely have a chance, go check those.
Go check that out for sure.
And that book out.
And so I came across a gentleman. I forget his name. It's a weird name. Caucasian guy, pasty hair. And then he started talking about a paradigm. And growing up in church, you know, you hear about a paradigm, like, the paradigm is shifting, you know, stuff like that. But it was different how he broke it down, because in church they just say it, but they don't really break down. They never really broke down to me what a paradigm was. And I was interested in that. And so now, instead of thinking about food, I'm thinking about a subscript of what makes up the law of attraction. And so my whole first day was thinking about paradigms, researching paradigms, and come to find out that the paradigm is in your subconscious, and it's the thing that is something that happened in your adolescence that causes you to form a certain habit. If it's a habit of action, a habit of thinking, and it's something that you don't even know that you're doing because you're already comfortable doing it because you've been doing it for so long. And so my first day was really sitting back and identifying what I wanted to shift in my paradigm, the aspects I wanted to shift in my paradigm. And so my auntie Peaches got me a journal, and I just went to writing. And so that first day I identified that through my journey with basketball from high school up until about maybe a year and a half ago, like, I was so worried about people's perspectives of me when it came to hooping. That and also the whole young Black professional crowd, but that wasn't an issue for me until after I graduated college, but it was still perception based.
Mm.
And I said, why does this bother me? So I wrote that down. I wrote down, I wanted to shift my paradigm on how I approach relationships. Cause I'm, to this day, I've never been in a full relationship ever, you know, and that was, it started by choice, and then it evolved, and that's going to come in day 2. And so I identified the things that I wanted to change. And I'm glad I identified it on day 1, because on day 2, it was tough. Like, woke up in the morning and the first thing on my mind, it's gonna sound weird, was falafel. That was the first thing on my mind.
I like falafel too.
Oh my gosh. And they in Arabic culture they call it falafel, you know. And you're right, so falafel, right? So it was, you know, so it's falafels on my mind. And so I immediately, after I was done teaching online, I went right into breaking down the things that I identified on my paradigm, that I wanted to shift on my paradigm. And and the majority of the things came back to feelings of being left out as a kid. And so I felt like, and so that feeling caused me to develop habits of going out of my way to feel accepted by people who are doing the things that I'm interested in doing. And it surprised me, because I'm somebody in every other avenue of my life, whether I'm walking into a business meeting, where I'm going to meet new people, I don't care what you think. But when you attach something that you love to it, you want people's energy to match what you believe yourself to be.
Absolutely.
And that was so eye-opening for me, that I legit stayed upstairs in my room and really meditated to break that down. And with me breaking that down, I was able to really be honest with myself and say the reason why that a lot of the goals that you wrote down at the age of 13, the reason why they were accomplished, but on the level that they were accomplished at, was because you're in your subconscious, you were timid about your skills, you were timid about your confidence. And at that time, you weren't ready to handle the pressure of being at a certain level. So I had to knock you down until you got the lesson, until you understood it. And that was something that was so eye-opening for me, that by the 3rd day, I like I told you, I was excited about what was next, because now I'm out of my own way. I'm out of my own way. And that transferred from my perspective of pursuing basketball to my perspective of eliminating bad habits to hopefully meet the woman that I want to attract, you know, that God has for me. And ultimately beginning my public speaking, you know, process, or my journey to make that a career. And all that came because in order to keep my mind off food, it transitioned into a spiritual, mental stretching event, to where I had to be uncomfortably honest with myself about why certain things weren't happening in my life. And in the book, As a Man Thinketh, it says that good thoughts bear good fruits. Bad thoughts produce bad fruits. Right. But at the end of the day, if you can say, I believe in myself, but if deep down inside, there's like that what if, you're going to produce that what if. You know, because that's a part of your energy. That's a part of what you give off. That's a part of what you attract. And I'm not going to sit here and say I regretted the fact that I discovered that now. I'm glad that I discovered it now.
Absolutely.
When I discovered the gift, that what I learned through what I learned through my process of getting to my destination is going to be more impactful than me talking about my destination.
Absolutely.
And so that was day 2. Day 3, I really focused. I was so ready for that Chipotle. I bought the Chipotle at 7 p.m. and had it on my counter until midnight. But um, I did it. I day 3, I woke up more appreciative of the fact that I went through the fast,
Mm,
because I prayed more than I ever did in years.
mm,
I meditated more, and I got to the root of a lot of the things that were holding me back, and it was all fear. It was fear of perception. And for somebody who people come to for advice, if I wasn't, if I realized this 2 years ago, I would have been disappointed in myself.
mm, 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 mm.
I would have been disappointed. But now there really is, like, everything about a process is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Everything. Because at the end of the day, nothing happens to me. Everything happens for me. And so for me to know that, watch this, for me to know that my my goals did not were not accomplished at the level that I wanted to be accomplished, made it more valuable,
Mm-hmm.
made it more impactful, made my story more impactful to share, because so many more people are able to share, are able to relate to stories of struggle than they are for stories of success. Not to say that people aren't successful,
Yeah,
but anybody can talk about how good it is. No
absolutely.
one tells you how to deal with the
Absolutely.
very few. And if they do, they speak down.
Yep.
I'm speaking eye contact.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I've been there,
Yeah.
sleeping from couch to couch to cot to couch, I've been there, and it's all beautiful.
Yeah.
And so that third day, I was more thankful, still meditated. I focused more on the relationship aspect and the habits I had to break down, and I had to stop, and I really nipped them in the bud then, um, because at the end of the day, it, I was giving energy to the wrong situations, and I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to do that anymore. And so, yeah, it was I would say it was one of the hardest things I ever did in my life. But as somebody who went plant-based at the beginning of the year,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't as bad as somebody who's on a carnivore diet too,
Right.
but it was still to the point where, hey, I want some Cheez-Its,
Uh-huh.
but it was, I mean, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot. And so,
So I want to ask you this question. And well, let me just ask you the question first. So do you think, or not do you think, but have you, if you haven't, do you think, um, the things that you did during the fast that got you this revelation about yourself, have you continued to go about that, like the praying more, the seeking, the God, like God, seeking God
right.
more, like,
I
because I
I
feel like we especially when we go through fast, like, because we are in a vulnerable state, we'll do like
out
the
of desperation.
out of desperation,
Right.
we'll pray more, we'll see God more, we'll pull on him more to get what we need to suffice while we're going through this process of emptiness.
Right.
So like when we come and we receive so much, but now that we're done with the fast and we've been able to kind of come out of that, like, have you continued with that so you can
I,
continue to gain more?
I've continued with it, because with that excitement came more responsibility,
Mm,
and in order to properly handle that responsibility, um, you have to seek.
mm,
You have to continue to seek, right? Because that's like disconnecting from the battery source. And it's not like I'm doing it for a result.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because it's another level. I'm at another level, and now this is normal for me.
Mm.
It's normal for me to constantly, okay, God, this is what it is. It's normal for me to lay down, looking at my fan, meditating, or looking at a candle if it's at night, meditating. It's normal for me to ask myself, why am I thinking this? Why am I reacting? So all that stuff, it was at another level before the fast, but the fast enhanced it to the level of where I am able to handle whatever blessing comes after.
You know what I laugh at? Because you told me that, you hadn't prayed like in years. And it's so funny because it's like, you told me
At that level. Don't make me out here to be like, come on,
no,
in years, like I'm a heathen. No, don't do that.
I'm saying, like, you even told me that you did the fast out of boredom.
Yeah, I want a challenge.
So
For sure.
what I was going to say was, it's so funny how like God will place us in situations without us knowing. And it's
Right.
like you did this out of boredom, not knowing that God was setting you up for an increase of a relationship with him.
Right.
Like without even you knowing. And now look at you flourishing.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It was something. I mean, because at the end of the day, like even when I got hurt for a year in college basketball, my coach tried to expel me from school to get the scholarship back. Like even then, it was like, all right, think you big and bad? I'm gonna take this away. And so, I mean, it happens.
Do it every time, yeah.
It happens, and the challenge for a lifetime for anybody that's faith-based is to make sure that you don't have to hit rock bottom in order to realize that.
I'll throw this whole computer out the window.
All, but that's the challenge, but that comes from, and that's why a lot of people who take time and properly self-assess themselves every day and make a little checklist of, am I doing this? Am I pushing? That's why you have to do that every day.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying it's going to happen perfectly, but if you make that a habit, instead of having a 30% success rate, you might jump to 85.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, and that's about being real about yourself.
Absolutely.
It's real with yourself.
So I guess we'll kind of change the trajectory of this conversation, and I'll ask you some questions like based on I guess the topics that we want to tackle tonight.
All right.
So with doing this fasting process that you went through, and even like after, like in the weeks to follow, how important now than it was before you did the fast do you realize that it is to protect your gates, like what you see, what you hear, what you allow in your space?
I've always been somebody like that, to protect what I intake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, it started in college. It started in college because I wasn't, like, I took pride in not knowing the songs when I went to the club.
Mm-hmm.
I took pride in that. But I realized that when I was away from home, my mom was saying that the neighborhood was getting bad.
Mm.
The neighborhood was getting bad. And when I was in San Antonio, I went to school in San Antonio for a year, and I volunteered. Part of my major was volunteering in schools to teach math. I'm not math education, I'm mathematics, just flat out. And so I saw, like, yo, these kids in high school are bad. Like, they're bad. And it went back to why are they acting like this? And then it came back to, what are they intaking? What are they listening to? That's subconsciously altering, how they move. And when I came to that realization, it transitioned to everything.
Yeah.
Like I stopped eating fried foods, you know, a majority of the time. Started listening to different types of music. Um, like I grew up knowing artists that people I grew up with, they were like, huh, who's that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but now I'm doing it intentionally because I want my subconscious to formulate something different, you know, and that's why I move differently versus, you know, other friends of mine, because I'm listening to FKJ, Anomaly, and some
Exactly.
jazz, you know. So but that's it's important, and I don't think people realize that what you listen to, what you watch is even more important than what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I know a lot of people that eat healthy, but they're thinking otherwise. They're influenced to think otherwise, and they look and they're aging like crazy.
Oh my gosh. I just told somebody that. I
You
just
know,
told somebody that.
and it's like stress. It's stress because maybe you might be comparing yourself to music that you listening to, and you trying to get that, meal, you trying to get that car, you trying to get this, and you thinking you're behind. So yeah, you might be eating right, but then you're causing yourself mental strain.
Yep.
Like I've seen grief kill a person.
Mm,
I've seen a mindset kill a person.
yes.
You know, you gotta protect everything that you, and you have to have proper perspective about what's coming in.
Absolutely.
Like I can, like there's a club out here in Houston called the Address. I can go to the Address if it's not too packed, but I'll go to the Address, you know, and vibe. But it's not like I need to be there. Like it's
Absolutely.
altering. Just
Yeah.
like, yo, you know, you go in there to see a few sundresses, you good, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it.
So I laugh because like when I left my hometown, like I made it a vow like never to return. Not because I thought that I was better than anybody, but because I realized the routine there. And I
Right,
didn't want to get caught in that routine. You know, I go back to visit my parents. My parents still live there currently. I go back and I see that people are in the same routine, you know,
right,
and it's like the same clubs, the same thing every weekend, like literally making a paycheck to go blow it at these clubs. Just like, I'm,
right.
I mean, it kind of like amazes me because I'm just like, these clubs are not even like 5 star.
Yeah, it's not even Miami or Houston or
I
LA.
mean, literally.
Right, right.
And so um I think just changing your environment and changing your mindset will like shift your perspective
Right.
in a lot of things. Like I tell people all the time, like get out of your hometown, go travel, go see new things, go overseas. I mean, living a year, you know, in Afghanistan in a foreign land, you know, in the middle of the desert, like changed my perspective so much. When I came back, like I didn't even want to come back to America
Right.
because things are done so differently overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and just a change of pace alone, like made me not want to go back to the norm. And so I even bring that to like this pandemic. You know, we keep saying, oh, I want to go back to the things used to be, the way the things used to be. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want to go back. Like, I mean, not mentally. Like, yeah, I want to go back outside. I want to enjoy, you know, my family.
Right, right.
But even that won't be like how it used to be because now I won't
Never.
take them for granted.
Right.
You know, just
Exactly.
me being around people, I won't take that for granted, like how I once did.
Right.
So, yeah. So, explain to me, you tapped out a little bit about the beauty of the process. Like,
Mm-hmm.
break that down to me, what in our viewers, what do you see that as now?
I see it as the germinating process of like a seed. So in order for anybody to be prepared to handle any goal that you want to acquire, you have to you have to gain the necessary skills or experience in order to properly handle it. Not to say that you don't believe that you're already what you aspire to be, but even after belief, there has to come some sort of work because you have to be prepared for whatever position you're going to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And so the process is literally anything that happens for you during the time it takes you to get from point A to point Z. Whether it's, for example, and I best explain things through stories. So when I moved to Houston, 3 years, oh man, it's going on 4 years. Wait, it's 2020?
It is.
3 years.
Wait, let me adjust myself real quick.
Yeah. So when it came to me moving to Houston, I was just like, yo, I need something new. So I drove out to Houston. It took me 2 days, no AC in my whip in the middle of summer. Right? So I lost like 5 pounds in the car. But
that's neither here nor there.
Right. So I'm driving, and when I first got there, there was a certain expectation of me going there and landing a job immediately. So I'll be working. I wasn't able to work for 2 weeks. Now, some people might get frustrated and be like, I'm going back home. But if you really believe in the beauty of the process, you know that 2 weeks was for a reason. It was for you to, instead of working, you could go find a place to work out for free, which I did. Instead of working, you can figure out, okay, I shop here instead of here in order to save money. I go get gas here instead of here in order to save money. So it's a part of the process to help you develop in order to navigate to your process. Right. So, to your destination. And so I think a lot of us, because I've been there too, we don't, if we had success before we have another goal, we always look at that past goal and say, and take pride in that goal and use the energy to be like, well, I'm entitled because of what I did previously, right, to get here. When every new endeavor that you do should be taken as a brand new start. Not to say that what you did in the past wasn't great, but only a fool trips over what's behind them. Exactly. You learn from that as a part of your new journey. It's a part of your new, your new path. And many people that fail in the past, they take that same energy and say, well, this is what I expect. So whether you did something great or you failed in the past, you have to move on to the new task of what am I going to learn on my way to this new destination? Absolutely. Right? So that's the aspect of your past experiences. Mm-hmm. Now, when you think about future tense, a lot of us, and this was me in middle school and half of high school, I was so worried about being a top player in the city that I didn't even lock in during games because I already had the destination in the forefront. So you can't possibly, that's why Michael Jordan was so good, because he was outside of the locker room. Hey, how you doing, son? Signed your ball. But as soon as he stepped on that court, he was present about what to do at that moment. Yes. Right. And some people stay in that moment too long, to where you might lose sight sometimes. But I'm somebody that I believe in the golden median and staying in that moment. And when it's necessary, you got to snap out of it. Absolutely. Because if I stay competitive me forever, I'll drive people insane. You drive yourself insane. Right. And that goes back to stress. And then I look like I'm 50. But right. But so instead of looking beyond the horizon, worry about the boat you're in. Because if you notice a person driving the boat, he's not looking at the wheel. He's looking at the horizon while controlling the boat. Yes. So that's the golden median. So you're not going to look. So a horrible sailor is going to look past the wave he has to go over. Mm-hmm. When a good sailor knows that there's an horizon past this wave, I got to handle this right now. Absolutely. And so that's the process. And I tell people all the time, Bruce Lee used to say it. Flow like water.
Mhm.
Because if you ever see, because everybody's, spilled water on the table that's a little tilted, you know, shout out to the church cookouts. Um, but when the water is going down the table, no matter what's in front of it, it's going to find a way to go around it.
Go around it. That's it.
And so water is always present in the moment
Yeah.
while going towards their destination,
That's
right?
good. That's really good.
So that's really
Good.
that really encompasses. Is that the right word?
It's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is. I'm sorry, I'm a math guy, but that really gets the concept of how the process should be viewed, and never say stuff is happening to me.
Mm,
Everything happens for you,
yes.
because if you take a victim's mentality, then you will perceive yourself as a victim, and your experiences will make you into a victim, and you will respond to it like you are a victim.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer of that. Just what we talked about the other night about just my own personal struggles that I went through, in my body. And
Right.
that was one of the things that I told myself that I didn't want to get caught up with. Why did this happen to me? But this happened for me. And, not only, um, not why, but what. Like, what did this happen for?
Right.
Because you learn. I'm a firm believer that you don't go through things for yourself, but for other people. So,
Right.
um, so before we close out, just to give like the people like a little extra, you broke down the word deserve,
Ah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I absolutely love it. Like,
All right.
so can you share, or is it like a secret?
No, no, no.
Like, can you
It's
share that with the people?
yeah, it's not a secret. Let me give a backstory.
Okay.
Okay. So I graduated from Florida Atlantic University, and I'm a member of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Mhm.
And we have forums on campus. So this is my senior year. At this point, I don't care, right? So we're going into a forum, and it's a forum about relationships. And somebody was saying, "Oh, I deserve this, I deserve that." I said, "So you deserve? Like, what makes you think you deserve? Right? Because right now you're making it seem like you're on a certain pedestal, right?" And then I read this book called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. And that was a big discussion.
It's so good.
Right. And then that book, it broke down deserve and luck in the same chapter. Right. And that had me intrigued. So I looked up deserve again. And it wasn't until recently where deserve was broken down. D means from.
Mm-hmm.
Serve means from service. So it means service. So the word deserve means from service.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And a lot of times we have construed that word to be a sense of entitlement without no sense of ownership of earning. So, and it's not even and so it's of my belief that service means you're impacting somebody's life to be better than before they met you,
Mm.
right? And so I always say mothers, good parents, mothers, fathers, teachers, any type of people who put their life on the line or take time out to make sure somebody's life is better
Mm-hmm.
than before they met them, they deserve, because they put in the work.
Yeah.
I'm not of the belief that even whatever you did in your past relationship, no one deserves anything.
Mm.
It's something that you work towards.
Yeah.
So if you feel a sense of entitlement before you even get into something,
Mm-hmm.
that's doing two things. One, that's putting unfair expectations on somebody that you're trying to get to know.
Mm-hmm.
And two, you're putting yourself on a pedestal. So instead of you all growing together, that person is having to be like, okay, is this good now?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's not a partnership.
Yep.
That's a monarchy,
Exactly.
right? And I know we in the stage of everybody's kings and queens. That's dope. You won't hear me say that. But it is it's something that has honestly killed a lot of potential relationship that could have been great, because you're thinking that you're entitled to something that you're not. Everybody's entitled. No one's entitled to anything, right? No, because you see people who are rude, disrespectful, being successful. You see people that are the nicest people in the world. They're not.
Yeah.
So who is really entitled? What is the virtue? What is the measurement of entitlement?
Of entitlement.
You know? And so that's why I will never say I deserve anything. Because at the end of the day, yes, I may work with kids. Yes, I may, put out content. Yes, I may, help people through their situations, but that's normal for me. In my world, that's something I am supposed to do because I'm gifted at it. So to say that I'm using my gift for something in return, that's a disrespect to the talent that God gave me.
Absolutely.
That's a slap in the face.
Because it's placed on the inside of you.
It's on the inside of me, And so I hope one of my hopes is that that of the people that I come in contact with and have an in-depth conversation is that they understand. I feel like, let me say it like this: you can understand how valuable you are as a person and not flaunt it in people's faces.
Exactly. Because if you were that great of a person, you wouldn't need to say anything. Your work would be for you.
That's why I don't feel the need to convince anybody of anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's biblical. I mean, your gifts will make room for you.
Right. And so yeah, I can talk about hours about that because it's about balance. It's about balance. Like, you can have confidence in yourself and you can be proud of it.
Absolutely.
But just like the poem, if you can walk with kings but keep your common touch, that's
absolutely.
That's what I aspire to do every single day. Be the best that I can be at the end of the time. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but I never answered questions unless you asked me, because I didn't want to be under the assumption that people really want to know. And so that's how, if I'm not going to relay information, because then that makes me seem like the information that I have, everybody wants.
Right.
So that's me putting my confidence in saying, oh no, they need it too. Come on, that's not it. It's not it. So with the video, and those who are wondering, like the videos that I put out, I don't release anything unless I have a feeling. Like, I might have a crazy concept in my head, but if I don't feel like it's meant for me to talk about that, and that's discernment, I'm not going to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you. Like, I thoroughly have enjoyed this conversation, and I thank you so much for coming on the show. And
appreciate you for having me, for sure. This is cool.
Thank you. If you can please tell the people where they can find you, like where they can look up your social media presence and where they can find your content, all that good stuff.
All right. So I am currently in the process of building a public speaking business. But you can find me on Instagram at I am Theonidas. That's TheoNidas, and on YouTube at Theonidas. So like, subscribe, follow, reach out to me, So yeah, I'm just chilling, on the road to doing as much as possible.
Yes.
So and also, last thing, I challenge everybody that listens to this to be honest about your self-awareness and get something out of being forced to be by yourself. Right? Two books. I'm
sorry.
What's up?
No, this is good. I just told my sister today. I said these are one of the biggest things that I pray for the people is that when you were speaking about some of the scariest things, and I was going to add to that, like, another scary thing is to come out of this and not get nothing from it.
Right.
Or don't leave what you need to leave behind.
Right. and I don't want to scare people. Say you gotta have another skill. I'm not going to social media you, but not but, because old people say whenever you say but, that negates everything that you said before. Right. So in addition to 3 books I suggest, The Alchemist, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. And if you go into it with the proper perspective, Think Rich, Grow Rich. But you gotta understand.
Yeah.
But you gotta understand that it's written by a white dude in the 30s.
Yeah.
So it's a little.
Yeah.
So, but what he says, his initial stuff about the law of attraction is cool. So let me move that one to the side. Let me go ahead.
I think that's more for people who are like, depending on what your goal is.
Right.
I mean, I read all of those, so yeah.
So let me replace Think Rich, Grow Rich to No Excuses by Brian Tracy.
Okay, great.
Replace that.
Yes,
right.
yes.
So yeah, I am Theonidas on Instagram, Theonidas on YouTube, and once again, I appreciate you for having me. This has been cool. I'm about to go get my plant-based meal now and just relax. You know what I'm saying? So we good.
Yes. Well, thank you so much again for just coming on this platform, just helping out creatives like across the world, just watching this YouTube channel. One of the things I always said I wanted to do was just inspire and to motivate. And you guys know what I always say, tomorrow's never promised, so make sure you seize the day.